Welcome to episode 1 of the NFToyz Podcast. I'm Allison Day here with my co-host Sun Nguyen, and we are here to talk about all things NFTs.
Yes, everything about NFT.
Everything.
Every single thing about NFT. So what is NFT, Allison?
So NFT stands for non-fungible tokens, as opposed to fungible tokens, which of course everybody knows what a fungible token is, right?
They're fun.
No, they're fun tokens.
And
So fungible tokens are things like cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Those are fungible tokens. And the word fungible means that they can kind of be exchanged for one another, and you can't really tell the difference between them. It doesn't really matter if there's a difference between them. One Bitcoin versus another Bitcoin is not going to make any sort of difference in your life. You just care that you have a Bitcoin. Non-fungible tokens means that they are unique. So when you're talking about NFTs, most of the time, for now at least, you're talking about art. You're talking about JPEGs. Collectible art. So the art tends to be unique. If, for example, Beeple is a very popular artist that a lot of people know about who has NFTs. He has created a bunch of NFTs, and one piece of Beeple art is going to be distinct from another piece of Beeple art. So that is why they are called non-fungible.
That's really good, Allison.
Thank you.
That's really good.
Thank you.
Better than what I could have done. I would have been like, it's non-fungible. It's just not fungible. Okay, what do you want from me?
It's the opposite of fungible. Duh.
Self-explanatory.
Everybody understands that.
Everyone.
So we have a lot of things to talk about in this podcast. We are planning for this to be a twice a week podcast.
Yeah.
So there's going to be lots and lots of interesting news and maybe even updates on NFC stuff that we're doing.
Yeah.
So
we have a lot of projects in the pipeline that we want to get out. I mean, the reason why we call this whole, empire NFToyz is that we want to be creating toys, toying with different, ideas.
He just came up with that.
Yes. I came up with the catch line.
Very proud of his fun.
Podcast's over. We're done.
All right, so let's get into what is going on in the NFT industry right now.
A lot is going on right now, Allison. A lot. In fact, that's my answer for everything.
Awesome.
A lot. It's great.
And now you know.
Why am I doing NFT? It's my destiny, right?
It's true.
That's the answer. No,
meant for it.
I'm just
born for this.
I'm just born for this. A lot is going on right now. It's getting very bubbly.
Mm-hmm.
Things are just getting sold left and right for a lot of money. But some of the stuff that's been going on that I'm excited about, at least, is not just right now. A lot of NFTs being built on Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like the main place.
That's what everybody hears about.
Yeah, where everyone goes to put the NFT. But recently, I think in the past couple of weeks, there's been NFT popping up left and right on different chain. For example, like Solana is starting to roll out with NFTs. People starting to be building NFT or contract on Solana blockchain.
So are we starting to see a lot of stuff coming from people who are bigger or from more independent artists?
More independent, but okay. Just like the main, just like everything in crypto is driven on narrative is driven on a lot of hype.
So what does that mean? It's
FOMO.
Driven on narrative. What do you mean by that?
It means that if somebody, there's a story behind something that people get behind it, and they jump on it and they all ape into it. So, for example, like right now in crypto, like, the narrative, I remember back in 2016, 2017, the narrative was like, to replace cash.
Right.
But then now the narrative changed.
No, nobody cares.
Store value because it's just so slow and it's expensive to transact.
Right.
And, so that's the narrative of it. And the narrative right now is that everything is collectible, that's worthwhile, that's collectible arts and whatnot is being driven. That narrative is driving the price of NFT up on Ethereum. And with that, comes there's smaller chains that's not as popular. The network effect is not as big as Ethereum are starting to pop up, and people are jumping on that to kind of, it's like a land grab.
right,
so to
right.
speak, right? So Solana, there's a lot of that going on right now. I'm not sure. I don't think I've heard any famous people. I think famous people right now, if you're well known, you go to Ethereum,
Right.
and you go for a quick cash grab,
Because that's the way
right?
you make money,
That's
right?
because
That's where
everyone,
the
that's
value
the,
is stored right now, is
yeah,
all in Ethereum when it comes
exactly.
to NFTs.
Exactly. So you see a lot of experimentation stuff happening on Solana. People starting to do stuff on Solana blockchain. Um, these marketplace like OpenSea. OpenSea is a marketplace for Ethereum, right? It's the biggest one. It's massive. It's a
Pretty
main
much
one.
any NFT that's on Ethereum will be listed on OpenSea.
Yep, yep. And right now on Solana, I'm starting to see Solanart is one of the one that pops up.
Okay.
And I'm guessing there will be more. I mean, I'm not guessing. I know for sure there'll be more.
Oh, absolutely.
In fact, you know,
Where the money is.
yeah, I even told Allison this morning that, you know, why don't we start a marketplace? You know, yeah, we have so much time. You know,
So much time and resources available to us.
yeah. Let me go hire like, you know, 10 people. We'll launch another
On top of
marketplace.
our sausages,
Yeah, and
our multiple podcasts, YouTube channels.
whatever. We can do everything. We just don't need
Yeah.
to sleep anymore, and that's
No.
that's
Who
it.
needs it?
So Solana is one of the bigger blockchain that is I'm starting to see NFT. In the past couple of days, Neo is another blockchain. I know it was a big thing. It was like this, you know, people joke around and say that was like kind of like the Solana of 2017. Because that was when the last bull cycle of crypto is in 2017, and Neo was kind of like was built up. The narrative was the Ethereum killer, but you know they didn't really.
And then who's heard
pan
about
out.
Neo?
Yeah, that
since
didn't
then?
really pan out. I mean, again, crypto is all crypto. Actually, you know, we had this conversation. Everything we in life is driven on narrative, right? I mean. That's how stock price goes up, right?
Yep.
Narrative.
Yep.
So Neo I'm starting to see NFT being built on Neo. Neo recently released their latest upgrade to their blockchain. So it's proof of stake.
What is Solana?
Solana is also proof of stake also, I believe. It should be proof of stake, but I know like the algorithm for validation and reaching consensus might be they're different between blockchain.
I see.
So they don't determine, every blockchain is different. Every blockchain is optimized for certain things, and some, you know, you have to give everything is give and take in technology, right? So you know what Solana takes, Solana gives in other things. What Ethereum takes, Ethereum gives in some way or another. And Neo, same thing. So they all have their sort of pros and cons. But Neo is upgraded. They upgraded their blockchain to Neo 3, and now I'm starting to see a lot of not a lot. Maybe today I saw maybe 3 NFT smart contract being deployed on Neo.
Okay.
So and I see it just popped up on my radar because I follow a lot of Twitter people in crypto, especially with NFT contracts and stuff like that. And I saw a marketplace called ghostmarket.io.co something, one of those dots.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show note. But they suppose it's a very bare bone marketplace, and they are supporting Polygon. They're supporting Neo. They announced that they're supporting Neo like maybe in the last day. So I'm starting to see Neo NFT on Neo blockchain being auctioned or being sold on Ghost Market. So it's heating up.
So
the market's heating up,
so to speak.
Yeah.
We've got OpenSea for Ethereum and Polygon right now.
Yes.
We've got Solana art.
Solana, yeah, it's like it's
Solana art,
but
something like that for Solana.
Art. Yeah.
And then we've got Ghost Marketplace for Neo and Polygon.
And another blockchain. I forgot
and something else.
Phantasma, which is another blockchain that I never heard of. I had to look it up on CoinGecko.com, which is the place where you go and look at all the coins in crypto. And I was not aware of this blockchain until today, and I was like, wow, there's a blockchain. The chart looks good. I mean, If you want to invest, maybe not
to know.
not financial advice, but nothing on this podcast should be taken as any kind of advice. We're just kind of BSing.
We don't know what the F we're talking about.
We're making things up as we go, but it's really interesting.
We're straightforward about it.
But this whole NFT industry is just really interesting. A lot of things are going on, and I think that's why that I'm kind of being sucked into it. I've been kind of doing NFT for the past like 6 months, or at least being in this kind of industry for the past 6 months.
I'd say almost a year now.
Almost a year, but I mean actually doing stuff with NFT, like
almost a year now.
Writing contracts and stuff like that. Really?
You're at like 9 months.
Wow.
You started end of last year.
Time flew by.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really interesting because I think NFT it's for me at least is a combination. It allows me to combine, working on art, doing tech, and kind of putting it together, trying to sell it as a package. So it's just it's really intriguing to me.
Yeah. So speaking of your experience doing NFTs, I know you've been talking a lot about IPFS lately. So did you want to talk a little more about that?
Yeah, sure. So the idea with
okay, first question, what is IPFS?
IPFS is it stands for Interplanetary File System, and I think it's meant to be back like maybe 6 months ago when I was looking into this, and I was like, what the heck is IPFS and why the heck is Interplanet? And I think that I don't know if it's a joke or maybe that's just they want it to be this way, but it's supposed to eventually, maybe when Elon,
we're not just going to the moon.
Exactly. When we colonize Mars.
Okay.
We'll be able to share files with them, I guess. It's interplanet,
Makes sense. This definitely has the infrastructure for that. I'm sure of it.
So pretty much it's like a CDN or a contents or distribution channel that allows multiple. Once you kind of upload to IPFS, it gets kind of distributed across the globe, and multiple server will be sharing the same file. So if in case one of your file goes down, the other server will have it, and it's a way to, because
is this like AWS for blockchain?
Pretty much, but it's supposedly free, and then if you want to keep the file, you have to pin it, which basically you tell the network that I'm gonna need the file, so keep it there, please.
Okay, so why would you need to pin something? Like, why would it not be there?
So the reason why you want to pin something is that since all these are getting distributed across the globe in many different servers, they all have, each of these files has and maybe I'm not like 100% sure on this. You probably have to go to ipfs.io or something and read the documentation on this. But from my understanding is, if you don't pin it, if you don't tell all the other server that to keep the files around, it will get expired, and it will eventually be deleted from the system. Do
you know how long that takes?
I have no idea.
Do you know like the scale of how, like, is it a few hours, a few days, or years? Or?
I think it will also depend on the server, because different server will probably have, depends on when, like, let's say you upload a file. One server could be getting the file at one point, and another server could be getting a file at a different point. Depends on when it get distributed, right? So I think it might be depend on that and when it expire.
I guess my question is, what is the value of saying that it's free? Because it kind of sounds like you have to pay for it.
Yeah, well, it's free if you are hosting, because you could actually host a gateway. I think that's what they call a gateway yourself. You can host a server yourself, and then what you do is that you host the file, and then you tell the rest of the system, because they're all nodes on this massive network, right? And then you can tell them that, hey, I'm serving this file. Can you help serve these files to everyone? I see. And then they all will be like, okay, I'll take your file. I'll get your file. And then now you can tell them to pin it, or you can keep serving it. As long as you're serving it, somebody eventually is gonna request it from a different server, and a different server is gonna look up to see who has that file, and if you have that file, you'll be serving it. But if no one serves the file anymore, and nobody is pinning it, then eventually it will kind of get
replaced,
garbage collected.
I see.
From the network.
Okay.
So I think that's kind of a very long sort of explanation.
A long-winded explanation of what IPFS is.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's the thing with IPFS, and the reason why that, this whole idea of IPFS and having somewhere where things get stored and won't get deleted forever, essentially stored forever, is the idea of that is that, each of these, when you're dealing with NFT, and if you are doing like a collectible art or a collectible card series or something like that, these art or these JPEG or PNG do not live on the blockchain, right? Because it costs a lot of money to store stuff on the blockchain. The blockchain,
right? You're typically just storing like metadata, if that.
You don't even store the metadata.
Like I mean,
store like
a certain subset of metadata, like the name.
Yeah. So right now, most people, what they do, they store the name of your collection and whatnot, and the main important thing is that there's a ledger, and the ledger is just pretty much like a simple sort of database, a simple Excel sheet that tells everyone who owns what. So if Allison has a Allison collectible cards, a sushi collectible cards.
That's what everybody wants.
Everyone wants that. And if I make a purchase of it or she gives it to me, it will be recorded on the ledger. And the art itself needs to live somewhere, right?
Right.
So therefore, now we have that conversation of where do you store the art, right? And that can lives on, somewhat forever. And then so that the blockchain can point to that art. So when somebody goes to, your contract saying that, I bought a sushi one, from Allison, I want to see the art of it. The contract will point that to the IPFS file saying that, here's the JPEG, here's the PNG, and they can look it up and they can say like, look how pretty it is. Even though, I just, on the blockchain, I just own the token, and that's it. So that's why we have the IPFS conversation.
So you're pretty much saying that you've got the blockchain, which is distributed.
Yeah.
And you've got somewhere to store the images that is also distributed.
Yes. Essentially, yes.
Okay.
And the idea with IPFS is that there's also a competitor to IPFS, and which I am a fan of, is called Arweave. I am a fan of Arweave because they have their model is that you pay a fee to it's like another blockchain that stores all your data, right? And you pay a flat fee to store that data, per byte, per kilobyte, and they will store it forever. You don't got to pin it. You don't have to do anything, and it costs money. But you can buy. You're essentially, it's like Dropbox, but you don't pay a monthly fee.
Okay, so it's a one-time fee.
Yeah, it's a monthly fee. So that's why I'm a fan of it, because I'm cheap. Like I just want to pay a flat fee.
So you pay a one-time fee, and it'll stay there forever.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So I'm a fan of that. In fact, I store some of the art for CryptoOx, which is one of the project one of the collection that we did for NFToyz. That's like our very first Genesis collection. Yeah. We did it to celebrate the Lunar New Year. We'll put the link in the show note so you can go check it out.
It's an unexpected item. They're very expensive.
They're very expensive, but it's art, Allison. They're supposed to be expensive.
Can't value.
You can't. It's priceless. In fact, you know what? I would delist it. It's priceless. But yeah, I store some art on Arweave. So I like Arweave, but the problem with Arweave right now, at least for me, the biggest problem is that I cannot buy the token in the US. I don't think it's because you have to jump through a lot of hoop to get the token. You can bridge Ethereum and get the Arweave and then convert it back and convert it there and do all sort of stuff, and it's just too much work. So right now, that's why everyone is just like, okay, I'm going to just use IPFS.
Uh-huh.
There's different service to do that. That allows you to pay like some sort of bandwidth fee, and then you can just upload your file, and they host it for you. They'll pin it for you on the network. So that's kind of more straightforward than Arweave. Even though I'm a fan of Arweave, I like it much better because you can just pay one fee.
Right.
It lives forever. But yeah, it's a pain to get the token if you're in the US. I think if you're outside of US, I think it's easier because less regulation.
I see.
In the US, there's a lot of regulation when it has to do with these crypto and these, currency and stuff like that. So they don't, if you're in the US and you go on Binance, you go on Coinbase, you go on one of these other places, most likely you're not going to be able to buy some of these smaller things, smaller cap cryptocurrency. So yeah, so the back to the original question is like the debate between IPFS and Arweave is like, I like it better, but IPFS is much more accessible for now. But yeah, but recently, that last week when I was messing around with IPFS, there was a big old outage for like a couple of days.
Oh no.
Yeah, I deployed a contract, and then OpenSea was having trouble picking up the images on IPFS because the contract kind of linked up to the like I said before, to the image on IPFS. And yeah, so I don't know. I think if I have a choice, I'll definitely go use Arweave more than.
Do you think
IPFS.
it's more reliable, or do you think it's just because IPFS is so popular?
I don't know, actually. I don't know. I think there is also an option to host when you post something in Arweave. I think there's an option. There's a place where you can actually pin those files to IPFS. So you're essentially hosting on Arweave, the network of Arweave. When I say Arweave.
So Arweave is serving it.
Yeah, through IPFS.
Through IPFS.
Yes. And they right now they're kind of or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's they are actually.
We are professionals who know what they're talking about on this podcast.
There's a lot going on in NFT, and it changes every week.
Oh, I know. It's
and then
constant.
Things are just like, it's just constantly changing. Keeping up is just like a full-time job.
Which is why you should subscribe to this podcast.
And this is why we're trying to do a bi-weekly podcast.
We're doing the job for you.
But to correct what I'm saying, I think there is a Arweave right now is subsidizing. I've not tested this, but they're subsidizing the fees. If you have something hosted on IPFS, I think there is a URL you can go to, and they will convert that into Arweave. So they'll host it onto Arweave from IPFS for free, and I think they're subsidizing it. I think that's it. I'll leave it in the show note if I can remember it's like IPFS2Arweave.com or some shit like that. So it's really, yeah.
This is very complicated.
Everything is crazy in the NFT world.
Last thing we have to talk about in this episode is our own project that we've been working on that will actually be minting this weekend. We are doing a 10K PFP NFT. I always want to say PHP. It is not PHP. And what we are doing are sausages. If you can see Sun's shirt, that is his original emote that he did for his old Twitch channel. And he's taken his art that he did for that and created a bazillion attributes for it. And we are about ready to mint that this weekend. So if you're interested, you can get in on that. But we also are doing a giveaway. If you go to this episode on our NFToyz YouTube channel, and if you can't get to the channel because we don't have the URL yet because we have 2 subscribers. Is that just me and you? Yes. Nice. Yes. I can win a sausage. If we both, I know. If we both, we may be winning our own contest. Each of us has 50% chance of winning. Yeah. TBH. So, if you don't know how to get to the YouTube channel, you can go to our website, NFToyz.com. there will be a blog post that has all of the show notes for this, and we'll also have a link to the YouTube channel so you can go enter to win a sausage. So entries will be available. We should have figured this out before we started talking about this. Yes.
I don't know.
I was going to say until it mints, but...
Until it mints, but when does it mint? I mean, I'm going to try to get it, with work and everything's going on. I'm going to try to get it up and running and mintable, probably Saturday or Sunday. One of these time on the weekend.
Okay,
I mean, this is going to be the most unhyped NFT drop ever.
It's not going to sell, don't you worry.
From a couple of nobody. So it's you're going to have time to mint it.
All right, so let's just say this contest will run until...
Forever. We're going to be doing more because I have in the smart contract, I'm
trying to look for a calendar.
I have a bunch of reserved, right? So we're going to do a bunch of giveaway in the, near future.
So let's run this contest on the YouTube channel on the episode that we are doing right now. The very first episode of the podcast will run until end of day Pacific time. So midnight Pacific on Tuesday, August 31st. So that'll give you a few days. We might be the only entries.
I'm confused. So when is this going out, Allison?
Friday.
And then
August 27th.
And the contest will go to
Tuesday. August 31st.
So they have 4 days. Yeah. And it's not even if for some weird miraculous reason that it'll get mint out, we have 100 reserved.
We've got reserved, so you'll be okay.
You're gonna get a chance to be a sausage holder.
You can hold one of our sausages.
We can hold sausages. And who wouldn't want to hold one of our sausages?
Who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't?
Who, I ask of you?
Nobody is the answer. God, this podcast is just a disaster.
I think it's great.
It's a disaster.
All right, so thank you so much for watching / listening to the first episode of our NFToyz podcast. Don't forget to enter the contest before Tuesday, and we will be back with lots more podcasts and also devlogs. So if you want the links to the podcast or to the show on YouTube, you can go check out the show notes on NFToyz.com. That will have all of the information that you need, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye. Question.
Yeah.
We should have mentioned Sausage Party NFT on Twitter. Oh, and don't forget to follow Sausage Party NFT on Twitter. We're going to be doing a lot of giveaway on that too.
NFToyz.
NFToyz
on Twitter.
We'll do some giveaway on
Toys
Twitter
with a Z.
too. So, see you next time.
Bye.